You did not wake up one morning and decide you were behind. The feeling slipped in. A friend moved in with someone, a colleague got promoted, somebody younger sounded certain about their future. None of it took anything from you. Still, each moment added weight to the same private sentence. I should be further by now. It feels like a fact. It is not. It is a verdict, and it may be using a deadline you never chose. This video will separate a real gap you can act on from the hidden systems that turn comparison into shame. First, we need to find out who wrote the timetable. The first system is the invisible clock. Life is presented like a timetable. Finish education, choose a direction, build a career, find somebody, buy somewhere, become stable. These events may be common, but the mind makes a dangerous translation. Many people do this around 30. Becomes, if I have not done it by 30, something is wrong with me. A pattern becomes a deadline. The deadline becomes a verdict. Psychologists use the term social clock for shared expectations about when major life events are supposed to happen. The clock is real in the sense that families, cultures, and institutions can reward people for being on time. But its settings are not universal. The same life can look sensible in one family, late in another, and suspiciously early somewhere else. So take your sentence, by my age I should have, and ask, who set the appointment? Sometimes the answer reveals a biological, financial, or practical constraint worth respecting. Sometimes it reveals an old audience still sitting inside your head. But even if you remove the deadline, your mind can invent a race. The second system is the impossible competitor. Comparison can help when you study one real person and their complete path. Your feed gives you fragments. One person's career, another person's relationship, somebody else's body, a stranger's freedom. A 22-year-old explaining the morning routine that apparently solved existence. Your mind combines them. Now you are competing with a person who has one stranger's income, another person's marriage, an athlete's discipline, a traveler's life, and no visible need to recover. Every piece is real. The rival is not. And still, you lose to them before breakfast. The third system makes the race personal. It is the alternative self. The most painful comparison is often not a celebrity. It is the classmate, colleague, or friend who once seemed to stand beside you. Their success feels like evidence from a controlled experiment. Same age, similar beginning, different result. They do not merely show that something was possible. They appear to show that it was possible for you. This is why envy can contain grief. For a moment, you are not only seeing their life. You are meeting an imaginary version of your own, the one who chose differently, worked harder, or recognized the opportunity sooner. Do not rush to shame yourself for that feeling. Ask what the envy is pointing toward. Do you want what they have? Or do you want what you believe having it would prove about you? Their freedom may reveal that you want control over your time. Their recognition may reveal that you feel invisible. Their relationship may reveal that you want closeness, not their exact life. Envy becomes useful when it reveals a need. It becomes cruel when it turns somebody else's outcome into a verdict on your worth. And that verdict is being formed with missing evidence. The fourth system is the hidden starting line. You see the job, not the rejected applications. The house, not the deposit, debt, inheritance, or help. The confident performance, not the first attempt in an almost empty room. Outcomes hide the processes that produced them. They also hide what each person was carrying at the start. Two people can be the same age and have completely different amounts of money, health, safety, time, support, and information. One begins a career with rent covered. Another begins while supporting a family. One inherits a network. Another spends years discovering that the network exists. One can afford 3 failures. Another cannot afford one. These differences do not erase responsibility. They describe what responsibility is working with. Age makes the race appear fair because age is visible. The luggage is not. So replace the question, why am I not there, with, given where I actually began, what is the next move available to me? One question puts your whole identity on trial. The other creates direction. But even when you are moving, progress can remain invisible. The fifth system is delayed evidence. You learn before you become employable. Practice before you appear confident. Save before the balance looks meaningful. Recover before anybody describes you as recovered. The work happens first, the visible identity arrives later. That makes the middle of change psychologically brutal. The old life no longer fits, but the new life does not yet look real. You are paying the cost without receiving the evidence. So the mind reports, nothing is happening. But months of learning can look irrelevant until one opportunity requires exactly what you learned. Unanswered applications can lead to one conversation that changes a year. A boundary can look like loss before it makes space for a healthier relationship. If you measure only outcomes, the middle of every transformation resembles failure. Track what moves before the outcome does. Hours practiced, applications sent, money retained, conversations initiated, promises to yourself that you kept. Those numbers are not impressive enough to announce. That is why they are useful. They measure your process instead of somebody else's performance. Now we reach the part that reassurance usually avoids. You may be making progress toward a life you do not actually want. The sixth system is the borrowed future. There is the person you are, the person you want to become, and the person you believe you ought to be. The ought self is built from expectations. You ought to earn more, own something, want marriage, be further. Some of those expectations express values you genuinely hold. Others arrived so early that they now speak in your voice. Sometimes you do not want the impressive job. You want the respect you imagine it would force people to give you. You do not want the lifestyle. You want immunity from judgment. You do not want their lives. You want the feeling you assume they have while living it. Here is the test. Remove the audience. If nobody could see the achievement, would you still want the ordinary Tuesday required to maintain it? Not the announcement, not the photograph, the daily life. If the answer is yes, the desire may be yours. If it disappears with the witnesses, you may not be late. You may be rushing toward a future you never chose. And then comes the seventh system, the one that can keep you running even after you arrive. The moving finish line. You believe the promotion will make you feel established. Then established becomes senior. The flat becomes the house. Getting healthy becomes looking exceptional. Surviving becomes optimizing. What once looked extraordinary becomes the floor beneath your feet. The achievement is acknowledged for a moment, then converted into the minimum you should already have done. This is why success does not always cure the feeling of being behind. The feeling may not be measuring your distance from a destination. It may come from a scoreboard that only works while enough remains out of reach. You can spend your whole life catching up to a version of yourself that moves whenever you approach. Now return to your sentence. Finish it once more. By my age I should have. Remove your age. Remove the people watching. Remove the most impressive person you know. What remains? If a concrete desire remains, respect it. Do not bury it beneath comforting language. Name the exact gap. I need a qualification. I need 6 months of expenses. I need to ask for help. I need to have the conversation I keep avoiding. A precise gap can become a plan. My life is behind, cannot. It turns a problem in one area into a verdict about your entire identity. Choose one measure that moves before the final outcome, and one action you can take within the next 7 days. That is not pretending time does not matter. It is refusing to waste more time prosecuting yourself. Now imagine the next time it happens. A friend moves in with someone, a colleague gets promoted, somebody younger sounds certain about their future. You may still feel the sting. But now the moment has to pass through better questions. Whose clock am I using? What starting line am I ignoring? What progress has not become visible yet? Do I want the destination or only its applause? And if I arrive, will I allow arrival to count? Behind makes sense when 2 trains share a track, a destination and a timetable. Human lives do not. The person ahead on a road you do not want is not ahead. The person who arrived earlier did not use up your opportunity to arrive differently. Their good news does not have to become bad news about you. The question is not whether you have caught up. It is whether the life you are trying to catch is actually yours.